All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to UK Speedrunner Gathering Summer 2021. I'm now going to pass you over to Tiny Tim, who will be running Kwik Snax for us on the ZX Spectrum. So, Tiny Tim, over to you, buddy.
Thank you very much indeed, Skenby. Hello there, folks. My name is TinyTim78, and I've got a little bit of a blast from the past for you today. Something for the old-timers in the audience. We're going to be running Kwik Snax for the ZX Spectrum from 1990. With me, I have the one and only Digital Duck.
Hello.
Who's going to be helping me talk about this game. I'm just going to get started straight into it. Not going to mess around. So I'll give you a countdown for tech. So the countdown starts when I select the level. So we're starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, Duck, would you like to explain what this game is like, please?
Yeah, so Kwik Snax is one of the spin-off in the a spin-off game from the Dizzy series. It's completely different in gameplay to the regular series. It's basically a Pengo clone, where you have to collect all of the items, all of the fruit, and kill the enemies by pushing blocks into them. There's a lot of lots of different things that help with scoring if you want to go for a score attack, but for speedruns, that's basically it.
Yep, the game itself is split into four worlds. You have to rescue each one of your friends who's all been hit by a very nasty spell. So we're in Ice World at the moment because poor Denzel's been frozen solid because he's too cool for school. And what we have here is each world is made up of 5 levels, and each level has its own main stage, which is like this, and then it has the bonus stage. So when I get to this next bonus stage, Doc, if you'd like to explain how those work.
Yeah, so in the main stages, you've got completely free movement. You can move up, down, left, right as much as you like. In the bonus stages, it's almost as though they're on ice. So when you pick a direction and you move, you will keep moving in that direction until you hit a wall. If you get stuck in a loop like Tim has here, the bonus stage will just end and you won't get any points for it. But obviously, in a speedrun, sometimes that can be better than actually collecting all the fruit.
Yeah, that's the main thing with bonus stages, is getting them to the stage where you are getting through them quickly, basically. We'd much rather get through them quickly than wait around for them. So now this is going to be a wee bitty tricky here because I've had to get that border blocker. I am taking a wee bit of time on some of these because this is a very unforgiving game. You might look at it, well, that's an easy game. You probably think that about all the games that I play, but to be honest, it's not. It really isn't. As with very many games of its era, it is limited lives. And if I run out of lives, that's it. Game over, run over, rip. And we don't want that.
Of course not. And yeah, as you say, limited lives, and they can go very quickly as well. You can lose multiple lives in one level if you're not paying attention fairly easily.
Yeah, this game is a bit of an RNG fest. I mean, there is quite a lot of things that are set, but the enemy movement is basically RNG. I don't know if it's actually RNG, but I've not sort of broken into the programming to have a look, but it's effectively RNG, and yeah, it can definitely catch you out. So we're into this bonus level here. Now, some of these bonus levels you will see that I failed them because that's the quickest way to get out of them, and others you can't really fail them. So the quickest way is to just complete them. The bonus for that is you get an extra 1,000 points, and every 10,000 points I'll get an extra life, which are the little green dizzies showing up the top. Now, I love this level here. I'm going to shut up while I do this level because this is my favourite level in the game because the movement is quite smooth. Oops. Not quite as smooth as it should be, but never mind, we got there. Okay, now that'll be our first level, well, first set of levels done. As I said, there's 5 levels in each world and 5 bonus levels. So there are 40 levels in the game in total, but half of them are bonus levels. And then after every 5 main levels and bonus levels have been completed, you rescue one of your friends. The order in which you can do that is actually, you can choose, but we just go in the standard order because it's fastest. I would say Denzel, who's one of the many yoke folk. Would you like to introduce the yoke folk a little bit, Duck? For those who've not heard of them before?
The yoke folk were kind of introduced in the main Dizzy series. And I think most of them are Dizzy's family. But in general, they're kind of just the group of people that live in Dizzy's village. And obviously you've got Dizzy's girlfriend Daisy. You've got Denzel, who's the cool one. You've got Dylan, who is the spaced out one, let's say. We've got Dozy, who always sleeps, and we've got Grand Dizzy, who's the eldest. And there's a few others like Dora and Danny
I thought you
that
were
appear
going
in
to
some
forget Dora
games
there.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 4 of
And
them
they've all
featuring
got-
in this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, they've all got their own characters they play in the games. So you can kind of you get to know them throughout the series, which is nice.
Yeah, they also tend to end up in similar predicaments. For example, in this game, Denzel is put into Iceland because he's too cool. And in Magic Land Dizzy, he is frozen solid in a block of
Yeah.
ice.
At least Dozy often just ends up asleep anyway.
Yeah, Dozy ends up asleep. Though, interestingly enough, in Fantasy World Dizzy, Dozy actually, when you see him, he isn't asleep. He's kind of snoozing, but he's not like asleep. And you can actually push him in the water and let him float away, which I always thought was quite amusing. But anyway, I'm just cleaning up this level here. So while I'm doing that, scan me if there's anything you'd like to say.
Oh, Tim, you know me too well. I've always got things to say.
Just like me.
Don't forget. Don't forget that you can use your Prime Gaming sub to support the ESA Marathon channel and help extra future speedrunner gatherings to happen. And also, don't forget about the upcoming donation incentives that we have. We've got some available for the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind run that's happening tomorrow. You can name the character there. And also Paul Lister's run of Battle Block Theatre. We have a donation incentive there where Paul Lister will showcase a stage that plays itself in Battle Block Theatre. So be sure to take a look at the website.
Yes, indeed. There's some very good stuff. And remember, all your donations go towards Crisis. So please keep those coming in. It's an amazing cause. It's always an honour for me to appear in any of these events because not only am I having fun, not only am I playing games fast and chatting to people, but we're raising money for amazing causes, and that's what really matters. While I'm on to this next level, Doc, could you explain about power-ups in this game, more specifically the knife and fork that we see there?
Yeah, so there's a number of power-ups in the game, but what's important about the Spectrum version specifically is that the same power-ups will appear on the same levels. So on this level, the first power-up is always a knife and fork. The knife and fork allows you to eat enemies as though they were fruit, basically. You collect them in the same way, and they will disappear from your life for a little while before they respawn. There are a few other power-ups like the border blocker, which stops you from looping across the screen, and a power-up that slows down the enemies as well.
We've just saved Dylan, peace man, and we're on to Grand Dizzy. We're on to Cuckoo Island here. So the difficulty curve in this game isn't too bad. It's actually fairly gradual. And as I said, you can do the levels in any order, but there is a difficulty sort of curve, really. Island 1 is the easiest and Island 4 is the hardest. So we do it that way, though, because it's quickest to start with 1 and work your way along. So that's the reason we do it that way for the speedrun. We do have quite an important glitch coming up later in the run, which is quite important, that we'll be looking at, and I'll get Duck to explain that when we get to it. A little while before we get to it first. But the major thing about this run, the thing that I enjoy about it is, yes, there are patterns and things do sort of happen in sequence, but there is a lot of RNG involved with the enemy movement. So you do have to, yes, you have a set pattern that I follow, but enemy movement can mess that up. So you do have to react on the fly. So no 2 runs will be the same. And it's challenging. I wouldn't say it was a particularly difficult game, even casually. I mean, I completed it quite a bit as a kid. I mean, I don't know how many times you completed it, Duck. A few, I would imagine.
I don't really remember, but I imagine I probably have.
Yeah, it's not a particularly challenging game, I would say, casually. But as a speedrun, if you really want to go really, really quickly, then yes, it's up there in terms of sort of control and making sure that you're doing the right routes and whatever. And the occasional bit of RNG. The biggest bit of RNG is going to be the glitch that we're going to do later. That's going to be... One thing we haven't talked about, though, and I'll maybe ask Duck to talk about it, is music.
Yes. The music in this game is so good. And very rare for a Spectrum game is that it's actually different for each level. So for each area you're in, you'll have a different theme, and every theme is just great to listen to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to talk, I just want to let the music play.
Yeah, this game has got a fantastic soundtrack. It really does. I mean, the games of this era. I mean, this was pretty late on in the Spectrum's life, to be honest, towards the tail end of it. And by that stage, programmers who were really starting to get the most out of the system. And this game definitely shows that. I mean, this has got a fantastic soundtrack all the way through. Pretty much every single piece of music or intermission piece of music is excellent. It's fairly colourful for a Spectrum game, because Spectrum is known for its monochrome graphics a lot of the time. But this is pretty colourful as Spectrum goes. And I just think this game is a fantastic speedrun because it's got so many different good elements to it. It's got good graphics, it's a short enough run, it's got great music, it's got the glitch, it's got a little bit of RNG to keep things interesting. It's a very, very solid little speedrun, this. And quite an underrated game, I think, even in Spectrum circles. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm within my own little bubble. I've always loved this game, but I don't know how well known or received this game is in general.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's one of those that, like, I think it just doesn't get much mention compared to like Fantasy World Dizzy, for example, which does get a lot of praise.
Okay, so that's 3 down, 1 to go. We've just rescued Grand Dizzy, so we're now on to our final island. This is the hardest island in the game. This one can be a bit of a pain. It's also got the glitch level coming up. So actually, if you don't mind, Duck, you'd like to maybe start mentioning that now. There's a couple of levels to come yet before it's on.
So one of the power-ups in the game will turn all of the rocks in this level, in this case, all of the ones you can push will turn into fruit. But there is a glitch where if you are pushing a rock at the same time as you collect it, or immediately after, or something along those lines, I don't know the exact specifics, but you can. You'll turn all of the rocks into fruit, but you'll continue pushing a rock, and this will cause the banana to turn blue, and it will actually leave a trail of it behind you as you walk.
Yeah, we call it a blue banana glitch, and it's something that I basically discovered just completely at random while running the game one day, and Duck helped me sort of refine it and work it out, and worked out exactly what caused it and how we could replicate it, and then how we could use it in a speedrun, which we then went on to do. But it has been, oh dear. I'm going to have to be slow here. This level's being a bit of a pain. This level can be a right pain. Oh dear, this is going very, very poor at the moment. There we go. Oh dear, I've got a problem here. Why can't I get to that fruit? There we go. Whew. That was a bit unpleasant, but there we go. We got them in the end. Okay, so the next level coming up after this is the glitch level. And there's several things going on here. The most important thing is actually getting the glitch, but it is down, a lot of it's down to RNG. And I can set it up. There are certain things I can do to set it up, but it will depend on what I get. And I had a horrendous RNG on it in practice, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it'll behave itself. So I'll just be quiet here and let Duck explain what's going on here.
Yeah, so we grab the knife and fork first because that's the first power that spawns here. As I said before, the same power-ups will spawn in each level in the same order. So we want the second power-up, which is actually a sort of a mystery power-up, and all it does is it spawns another one. And the third power-up that spawns is one that turns all the blue rocks into bananas.
That wasn't ideal, but we'll try it. There we go, got it! But I've got an enemy right next to me, which is going to be a problem.
Here we go.
Risk going further up, there we go. I've got an enemy right next to me though, which is always a bit worrying, but we've got it. And what's happening here is I'm duplicating the bananas, and it reaches a certain threshold and it just ends the level. And that means we can get out of it a lot quicker.
So the game actually checks for a total banana count collected. It doesn't actually care that the bananas you've collected are still on the screen or not. So by doing the glitch, you essentially create your own bananas to collect them, and end the level.
It does say
which is a lot faster than going around and collecting the bananas that are already there.
Yeah, and the reason we do that glitch only in that one level is because, I don't know if you noticed it, but there is a setup in that level where there are bananas at the beginning of the level that are actually trapped behind blocks. And the only way would be either wait until all the blocks disappear, because they do disappear over time, which would be incredibly slow, or to turn all of the bananas into blocks. And obviously we can use the glitch to help speed that process up. Okay, we're coming up towards the end of the run here. I have to say my life count is looking exceedingly healthy. I think I've only died once, which is a lot better than what it was doing in practice, so I'm not going to complain about that.
Let's hope we don't end up breaking the game with too many lives.
Yeah, that is something that can happen in this game. You can actually crash the game. But that's not going to happen here, because no, I'm not that good. Right, we're coming up on time. Time will be up very, very shortly. We're just coming up. That was actually a pretty solid run. Right, time comes up as soon as you see Daisy appearing on the screen, which will be in about 10 seconds or so. So time is coming up. As soon as we see Daisy, it is time. Okie dokie, and time. There we go. And that is Kwik Snax for the ZX Spectrum. And we have rescued the Dizzy Mob. They can go on their holiday refreshed, ready for their next tour. And there we go. So thank you very much indeed. Again, UKSG for having me. I always love showcasing these games at these events. It's always an honour and a privilege to be here, as I said, to raise money for a fantastic cause. Thank you, Skemmy, for amazing hosting, and Duck, as usual, for the fantastic commentary. And
Thank you for the run.
Yeah, thank you again. And I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of the marathon, folks. Cheers.
Please do. Thank you very much, Tim, for this run. Thank you, Duck Squared, for the Digital Duck for the fantastic commentary as well in what is quite a fast-paced game by the looks of things. So, thank you to both of you. We will be back after this short intermission with Ruffled Bricks, who will be running a day in the life, and we'll see you after this short break.